The Montana wind sliced through Jack Harlan's dreams like a rusty knife that bitter December night in 1892. In his sleep, he was young again, watching Emily adjust her wedding gown, her green eyes sparkling under the prairie sun as she leaned in for their first kiss as husband and wife. Her laugh was like fresh spring water, clear and refreshing after a long drought. Then came the pounding sharp, urgent, pulling him from the warmth of memory. Jack bolted upright, his chest heaving, the dream crumbling into the stark chill of his isolated ranch house. That knocking wouldn't stop, echoing like a bad omen in the dead of night. He snatched his heavy coat, lit the kerosene lamp with fumbling hands, and staggered to the door. As it swung open, the glow spilled out onto the snow-dusted porch, illuminating a face that stopped his heart cold. Emily's face. Emily's eyes. Emily's slender frame shivered in the freezing gusts. But Emily had been gone for 7 years, taken by a fever that no doctor could beat. The lamp nearly slipped from his grip. Was the isolation finally breaking him, turning shadows into specters? Jack! The word tumbled from his lips like a forgotten prayer. The woman swayed, clutching a worn carpet-bag to her chest, her once elegant dress torn and muddied. Bruises bloomed like dark flowers on her pale skin, the same skin he'd kissed goodbye 1,000 mornings ago. But those eyes, damn it, those were Emily's eyes. I'm Olivia, she whispered, her voice a soft melody that echoed the lullabies Emily used to hum. I'm Emily's twin sister. Twin sister. The revelation hit Jack like a bucking bronco. Emily had spoken of Olivia in hushed tones, the sisters separated by their parents' ugly split. Olivia had stayed back in Denver with her father, while Emily headed west to Montana with her mother. Seeing her now, a living echo of his lost love, stirred something deep and dangerous in him. Olivia stepped forward, and he caught a whiff of faded rosewater mixed with the sharp tang of desperation. Please, she breathed, tears crystallizing on her lashes. I have nowhere else to turn. That's when Jack saw the full picture. The swollen lip, the finger-shaped marks circling her neck like a cruel collar, the way she recoiled when he reached to steady her. Who did this to you? Olivia's facetio like Emily's, yet etched with a harder resolve crumpled in relief at his kind tone. My husband, Reginald Blackwood. He's a monster, Jack, and he's hunting me down. The wind howled through the lodgepole pines, promising a brutal storm. Jack had been raised on tales of frontier honor, drilled into him by his pa with stern lessons and a switch when needed. His stint as a deputy in Colorado had sealed it with lead and law. And Emily, on her deathbed, had made him swear to keep his heart open, not let the world turn him to stone. Come inside, he said gruffly, stepping aside, before the cold claims you. As Olivia crossed the threshold, Jack couldn't shake the sense that he was inviting in more than just a storm-weary stranger. 3 days dragged by before Olivia could bare her soul. She huddled by the stone fireplace, wrapped in Emily's faded patchwork quilt, the one his wife had pieced together during their first harsh winter. Her bruises had ripened to angry shades of violet and mustard, but her posture had straightened, revealing an inner strength that fists couldn't shatter. Reginald controls half of Denver's rail yards, she said, gazing into the flames. Locomotives, warehouses, more wealth than most folks dream of, and twice the cruelty. Jack poured steaming coffee from the pot, noticing how her hands trembled as she accepted the mug. How'd you end up hitched to a man like that? My father set it up when I hit 24, said a woman needed a firm hand. Olivia's bitter chuckle held no joy. He was all charm at first gifts, dinners, sweet talk. I was naive enough to fall for it. She rolled up her sleeve, exposing a map of old scars. It started small, a backhand for burnt supper, a push for laughing too loud at his parties. Then the locked rooms, the spies he called servants, threats to anyone who dared help. Jack's fists clenched. He'd witnessed plenty of ugliness in his deputy days, patterns of control that left women broken. What pushed you to run? He murdered someone. Olivia's voice dropped to a hush. A young housekeeper who smuggled me a note from a friend. He staged it as a fall, but I saw him shove her down the grand staircase. When I called him out, she touched her throat bruises. He almost ended me, too. The fire snapped, filling the heavy quiet. Outside, Jack's horses nickered in the barn shadows. That night, I slipped opium into his brandy, grabbed what cash I could, and boarded the first train north. Olivia drew the quilt closer. Emily's letters were my lifeline. She painted this place as heaven-endless skies where a soul could breathe easy. Jack studied her, seeing Emily's features but spotting a fiercer spark. Where Emily had been gentle as a meadow breeze, Olivia carried the edge of a survivor who'd learned to bite back. "He'll track you," Jack stated, no question in it. "Yes, Reginald hates losing what's his." Olivia met his gaze, and the resemblance stole his breath. "I can pay for the bothersome jewels, a bit of money." "Keep it." Jack rose, peering out the window at his spread rolling toward the Rockies. No man lays hands on a woman in rage. "Stay as long as needed." Olivia was silent, so long he thought she'd dozed. When he turned, tears streaked her face. "Thank you," she whispered. "Emily was spot on about you." January bled into February, and Olivia bloomed with the thawing earth. She proved handy, turning his rough bachelor pad into a proper home while he wrangled cattle. She whipped up meals that didn't taste like saddle leather, darned his shirts with fine stitches, and filled the quiet evenings with quiet tunes as she worked. But those fireside nights tested his limits. Olivia would curl in Emily's old armchair, lamplight gilding her chestnut hair as she read from her Denver books, her voice weaving tales of far-off cities while the Montana winds moaned outside. One late February evening, she stretched for a volume on the high shelf, her dress hugging her curves. Jack's breath caught, unbidden. She was really warm, vital, not just a phantom of grief. "Emily loved reading to me," he rasped, masking his stirrings. "I know. She wrote about it." Olivia's eyes locked on his, a spark jumping between them. "She said you had the strongest hands she'd known." Jack glanced at his rough, scarred palms marked from ropes and revolvers. "Nothing strong about these. She was wrong on lots, but not that." Olivia approached, tracing an old knife scar from his deputy days. He should have withdrawn, remembered she was his late wife's kin, vulnerable, fleeing a beast. He was her protector, not her pursuer. But he grasped her wrist, feeling her pulse race like a cornered deer. "Olivia," he murmured, warning and want intertwined. "I know it's improper," she whispered, near enough for him to smell her lilac soap, to note the faint scar on her chin Emily lacked. "But I haven't felt secure in years. Haven't felt desired. We shouldn't." Yet his thumb caressed her skin, and she pressed closer, fitting against him like fate. "Just once," she pleaded against his lips. "Let me feel alive, not just enduring." Their kiss ignited nothing like his memories of Emily. Where she'd been tender, Olivia met him with raw passion, her fingers clawing his back as if claiming this moment from the void. They tumbled to the woven rug by the hearth, her skin glowing in the firelight as she moved with wild grace. She was shattered yet whole, bold and begging, and when she gasped his name, Jack felt his frozen heart crack open. Afterward, as she nestled against him, he stared at the rafters, wondering if he'd damned them both. Outside, the wind whispered of approaching riders. Reginald Blackwood stormed into Bozeman like a tycoon on a mission, backed by a posse of paid thugs and pockets deep enough to bend any will. In his 50s, silver-haired and sharply suited despite the trail dust, his grin was polished as fool's gold, charming and counterfeit. Within hours at the Pioneer Inn, he'd greased half the town's palms. "My dear wife," he confided to Deputy Dawson over fine bourbon, voice dripping false sorrow. "The shock of her mother's passing has unhinged her. Delusions, Outbursts our physician fears she's a danger. He flashed forged papers, medical notes, court orders declaring her unfit, all bought with Denver influence. Deputy Dawson, whose ethics bent like prairie grass in the wind, eyed the fat bribe. Heartbreaking, Mr. Blackwood. Really tragic. My men'll help fetch her home. While Reginald spread his venom in town, Jack learned trouble brewed by Sam Whitaker, his trusted neighbor and a man who'd shared many a hard winter. Sam rode up at dawn, his mount foaming, face set like granite. Fancy Easterner in Bozeman asking about you, Jack. Claims he's after his wife. Description fits, that lady you've got here. Olivia, scattering feed for the hens, dropped the pail at Blackwood's name, going pale as fresh snow. He's here. God, he's really here. Jack pulled her close. Sam, what's he spinning? Says she's loco. Got judge's papers for an asylum. Sam spat. Deputy Dawson's itching to assist. Olivia whimpered like a trapped fox. He'll bury me in that hellhole, silence me forever. Not happening, Jack snarled. Sam eyed them, seeing the bond plane. She doesn't seem crazy to me. Scared, sure. Battered, obvious. Her husband's the brute, Jack confirmed. She fled to survive. Then you gotta fight, pal. Blackwood's got the town half convinced he's a saint. Olivia squared her shoulders. We stand our ground. I'd rather die than return. They came at high noon, sun glaring like judgment. Jack had prepped, stock moved, Winchester loaded, Olivia briefed on his hideout pistol. She'd begged to flee, but Blackwood's reach blocked every path. Stay in the cellar till it's done, he ordered that morning, holstering his peacemaker. It felt like an old ally, heavy with history. Olivia cupped his face. Come back to me, Jack Harlan. He kissed her fiercely, tasting fear and fire. She slipped Emily's gold band into his palm, the one he'd chained around his neck for years. For luck. Now, on the porch, Jack watched the dust plume. Blackwood led, flanked by Dawson and 5 grim mercenaries, guns slung low and easy. Jack Harlan. Blackwood hailed from 50 yards, tone smooth as oil. I think you've got my property. Ain't how I see it. Jack's hand hovered near his hip, deputy instincts sharp. Gauge ranges, spot twitches, keep him distant. Blackwood's smile stayed fixed. My wife's ill, Mr. Harlan. She needs care, not squatting with some lonesome cowpoke. Odd how ill wives bolt 1,000 miles from their care. Dawson fidgeted. The posse eyed each other. I've seen your brand of law, Dawson, Jack called. Back when I wore tin, we called wife-beaters scum. Blackwood's facade cracked. You're sheltering a thief who drugged and robbed me. I could jail you. Try it. Jack descended the steps, boots crunching gravel. But here's the deal. Ride back to Denver. Forget Olivia exists. Or what? Blackwood's voice turned venomous. Or you join the last fool who thought cash bought everything in my territory. Tension coiled like a spring. A scar-faced gunman twitched toward his iron. Jack's Winchester barked, spraying dirt at his horse's hooves. The beast reared, nearly dumping him. Echoes bounced off the peaks. Next one's dead center, Jack said coolly, chambering another. Your call. Blackwood paled with rage. You fool. I have power you can't touch. And I got lead and justice. Tend to level things. The stalemate might have held, but Olivia burst from the house, Jack's spare revolver steady, eyes blazing. Hello, Reginald, she cooed. Miss your punching bag? Blackwood gaped like he'd seen a wraith, poise shattering. Olivia, darling. I've been frantic. Olivia's laugh cut sharply. Frantic enough to kill that maid for aiding me. Frantic enough to fake asylum docs. You're addled, dear. Your mother's death. Mother died 8 years back. What I'm grieving is the fool I was, believing you're poison. She faced the men. Gentlemen, my husband prefers tidy tales. Mad wife, heroic spouse. Touching, except, from her pocket, a leather diary emerged, crammed with precise entries. Every assault, every menace, every payoff to hush witnesses. Dates, names, some including the $400 to that judge's aid for your forgeries. Blackwood flushed crimson. You lying whore. The slur barely escaped before Jack's rifle swung. Finish that, and it's your epitaph. Dawson looked queasy. Blackwood's cash was tempting, but federal fraud? Not worth dying over. The gunman muttered, loyalty waning. Calm down, folks, Dawson urged. Calm, Olivia scoffed. Not since our honeymoon, when he first showed his true colors. She bared her arm scars. Month one of marriage. Want the rest? Blackwood snapped at a hesitant thug. Shut her up. Women like her fabricate. That sealed it. In the frontier ethos, branding a lady a liar was a grave insult. Even Dawson cringed. Olivia leveled her gun, then lowered it, staring him down. I'm not yours anymore, Reginald. Force it. And this is Montagnard dispense our own reckoning. Blackwood scanned the group. Averted eyes, shuffling boots, Jack's unyielding aim. Power had flipped. This ain't finished, he hissed. Oh, it is, Olivia declared, final as a gavel. Go torment elsewhere. I'm done fearing you. Spring arrived swiftly in Montana that year, melting ice and birthing new growth. Olivia watched from the porch their porch now as Jack broke a spirited Mustang in the corral, his touch patient, earning trust from a creature scarred by man. It mirrored how he'd handled her, offering refuge without demands. Blackwood had slunk back to Denver post-showdown, his pride shredded. Olivia's journal sparked U.S. Marshals' interest in his shady dealings, toppling several cronies. She was liberated, truly, for the first time. Penny for your thoughts? Jack's voice broke her musing. He'd finished, striding up, sweat glistened, eyes soft with peace she'd grown to cherish. Thinking how we've rebuilt, she melted into his embrace, marveling at the gentle touch over brutality. Emily would have wanted you joyful. Jack kissed her brow. But Olivia? She's the one who showed me living beats, just existing. As the sun dipped behind the Rockies, gilding the sky in amber and rose, Olivia Harlan Blackwood no more embraced her hard-won ending. What do you think about this tale of second chances, abuse, and frontier justice? Drop a comment below sharing your Taquito U side with Olivia's fight for freedom, or see shades of gray in Reginald's world. Let me know your stance and why. Your views keep the conversation going.